What's up, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs? Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. I'm happy to have you all. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to learn something or better yourself or your situation. Please take away only what resonates and release the rest. Trust your own intuition above all else, because ultimately you are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. Let's go ahead and set the intention now to get my Aquarius gang out there some clear, helpful, and insightful messages wherever they are currently at on their spiritual path. All right, let's do it. So, Aquarius, what's up with you? Let's see what's coming in for you during eclipse season, which starts around, I believe, March 25th, give or take. We're having a full moon lunar eclipse in Libra, so a fellow air sign. So let's see, what is a general storyline that may come in for Aquarius around eclipse season-ish? Ooh, did you see that pop right out? Oh, I love this card. I'm obsessed with this card. And it's not even a Scorpio card, as I use the word obsession, but it is Pisces. It's Pisces. It does have to do with the idea of illusion and things being mirrored back to us, and the importance of being able to see the truth. And also, I think there's an element here of patience when it's like you're desperately searching just to get a clear answer and to get to the bottom of something, and you're kind of lost in that Neptune Pisces fog. We have no choice but to embrace the mystery. And I'm almost wanting to say, like, I know this sounds kind of dramatic, but like embracing the mystery of life, the mystical, because ultimately that's a force that we're going to have to work with throughout our lives. Sometimes we have clarity, sometimes we have resolution, sometimes we know facts and data and details, and it's black and white, and like we know it. Other times there's shades of gray and we're kind of lost, and we have to use our intuition to guide us. And that's sort of what you're being presented with right now. I'm wanting to say, like, the illusion versus the truth, and maybe where we wanted to wear the rose-tinted glasses, maybe where it was more comfortable or it was easier to not look directly at what we knew to be true. It was easier to pretend that something else was going on, or I don't know if it's see the best in someone when really deep down we knew it wasn't a good vibration, it wasn't in alignment with who we are and what we wanted. But there's almost wanting to use the word passive or a pleasing nature to this, Venus, Pisces energy sort of, which I actually think a lot of us are experiencing that aspect now. Venus is in Pisces for everybody when I'm recording this anyway, but you may be watching it later is all I meant by that. All right, moving on. Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, the moon is highlighting the full moon. So the full moon is going to be in Libra. And there's an element here where it's, Libra versus Aries, that polarity, it has to do with ourself, our ego, our independence versus how we operate in collaboration with another, in team dynamics, in partnership, in relationships. Where do we need to find the equal balance between our own autonomy and independence, versus the absolute essential need to be a social being and a social creature and interact with others on a different level, or on a different way, I suppose. All right, so then we have the King of Wands. So this came out for, who did I read for? I want to say maybe Capricorn. Yeah, I think Capricorn had that same card. King of Wands. So this may or may not have to do with a fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And this is understanding the inner workings of your partner based on some sort of emotional experience that they've shared with you. It may have been something that has I'm hearing, bear with me, this is a weird way of phrasing it, but I'm hearing bonding through trauma. Let me explain that, though. It's not something, for most of you, this is not coming through as something toxic or abusive. It's actually the opposite. It's Chiron, it's healing, it's cathartic, it's our inner wounds that we're able to experience and share with another person that actually helps bring us closer to them, because now we can understand them better. We're able to be empathetic. We're able to be compassionate and sympathetic and understand what they've gone through. And maybe in a way where and I'm not necessarily saying you did this, but it would be very easy to judge a book by a cover and write someone off as, I'm just giving you an example here. It's like, oh, well, they're an addict, they piss their money away, they have poor morals, blah, blah, blah. But then you come to realize, oh, well, they grew up in an abusive family, and that was their way of coping to numb the pain so that they could get through that. Do you understand what I mean? There's a flipping of a coin, the truth versus the reality. I'm wanting to say two sides of the same coin, or double-edged sword. There's something about a duality nature coming into this where again, with that Pisces energy, it's not good versus evil. It's not black versus white. It's not these extremes where you can clear cut right down the middle and decide where we separate. It's blurry. The lines are blurry because it's more complicated. It's far more complicated than that, is what I'm wanting to say. And this is very likely involving a fire sign, or if you, Aquarius, have very strong fire in your chart, it could be involving a water sign, specifically a Pisces. Yeah, there's your 10 of Cups, though. That's what I mean about like some sort of feeling elated or emotional fulfillment because we are able to be embraced by either a community, a person, a family. There's an understanding that has, I'm wanting to say, like immeasurable depths. Again, because you guys have either gone through something together that has forged an even stronger relationship, or someone has shared something with you where you start to understand them better. And it doesn't have to be romantic, but it's like, if they weren't already, this relationship has now become like an absolute in your life, like a solid main character, a main figure in the narrative as you move forward, because the bond is undeniable. It's like it can't, you can't unknow what you now know, and for a lot of you, it's completely changed your perspective or revealed something more where there is more understanding. I think that comes because we started out this whole narrative with like the illusion versus the truth and not understanding. And to be honest, I think that energy is probably playing out for you in multiple areas in your life. For a lot of you, this is almost coming through with like a Chiron aspect, which is like our own wounded warrior, essentially. Feel free to do a little Google research on Chiron. It's kind of fascinating. But the eclipse is happening, like the North Node is sort of right on top of Chiron when this is happening. So there is a need to go towards those who, I'm almost wanting to say like those who suffer, but almost unnecessarily, because what changes the game for that is inclusion and embracing. And not separating, but rather, like the inclusion, bringing things together. I hope this is making sense for some of you, because this is very channeled. This isn't making totally like logical sense to me right now, but I'm hoping it resonates for someone out there. Anyway. For some of you, this may have to do with a child who either has difficulties or disabilities, or it could be like learning disabilities. It could even be some sort of deformity, right? I'm not predicting this. That's not what this is about. It's not a fear-based reading. But there's something, especially when you're in Aquarian energy, there's something to do with the other, feeling alien, feeling foreign, feeling different, and learning to lean into those. I'm going to use the word blessings, though they're not always viewed like that. Like there could have been some moment of crisis or some sort of situation, person, whatever, that you may have chosen to view through the lens of tragedy for some time. And then you're starting to realize, your wounds are your wisdom, or leaning into those sort of oddities or deficiencies as almost like your own superpower or form of strength. It's like feeling with the cups, feeling like you're more aware of like a greater purpose and the reasons why things transpired the way they did. Maybe there was a crisis of faith. For some of you, it's like, this is either you or someone around you. It's like when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, for a long time you didn't like who was looking back at you. And it was almost like this rejection of self. And now there's an ability to like gaze in the mirror and see the beauty there. And not much has changed externally for some. But there's, I don't know, it has a lot less to do with the superficiality of how something appears and putting more stock in the internal versus the external. And really it's like the soul growth, the soul journey. This is heavy, Aquarius. This is like by far the heaviest reading I've had so far. It's beautiful. I mean, the 10 of Cups is here, which is like fairy tale ending, but it also has to do with legacy and what we leave behind and what we teach our children. And even if you don't have children, what we teach to others, what we teach to our friends, teach to our neighbors. how we demonstrate by doing. You know, actions speak louder than words, and a lot of it has to do with how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. I do feel like if this doesn't have to do with you, and almost like this feels very Scorpio in some capacity of like a crisis that led to great transformation, possibly externally, but mainly internally of the soul, and how that's now reflected outwardly, right? You know, cocoon to butterfly, or worm to cocoon to butterfly. It's like the butterfly now, where it took a long time to embrace the wings. If you'll go with me on this metaphor, there was a need to find your footing and find your comfort zone again and embrace the current reality of what is. And again, being able to see it as a gift and as a blessing, rather than romanticizing or sentimentalizing being the worm. Like, it was easier when I was the worm. It was simpler. It was less complicated. That might be so, but it's almost like you're denying or resisting the beautiful gifts of the now and the here and the present, and also the future potential of what's to come, because the Ten of Cups says this is going to be really great. Do you know that? Do you feel that? For some of you, writing and journaling is going to play a major role in the next month or so. It could just be, you know, personal diary or journaling, getting your thoughts out on paper, working through things. It's going to be cathartic and healing, and you're going to be able to kind of get out what's spinning around in your brain and actually see it and decide what you want to do with it. You may have like a really good idea that, you know, right now it's just existing in your head, but you're going to bring it into manifestation. But I'm wanting to say, like, get it down on paper, or, you know, in your notes app or whatever. Some of you, you know, publishing, writing a book, something major to do with writing or printing or journaling, an article. There could be support, or I wanted to use the word leverage, from a family member there, someone who has a connection to like a publishing house, or I don't know, marketing, something leverage from a family that could give you the leg up or help you. There's a beautiful child in your life. There's a beautiful child, and it's just like, they see the world through these just amazing eyes, through the world of possibility. For a lot of you, it's like a Sagittarius child. It's lovely. It could even be a grandchild for some of you. It doesn't have to be your child. It could be your niece. It could be your nephew. It could be your best friend's kid. It's something about a Sagittarius or Pisces child, where it's just like, it reminds you about what's important in life. You're going to be spending more time with this child, and you might not realize why. That'll come into play later, but it's, again, blessings. You have no idea what a blessing that's going to be. All right. Here you are, the star. Yeah, okay, so I'm reading this as past, present, future. This to me is very much like, you're no longer the worm. You've busted free. There's been a liberation because of crisis, and now it's like you're the butterfly, but you're afraid to fly. That's what it is. And like, you're looking back, there's such like quite literally a reflection, right, with this mirror of the way things used to be, and having a change of perspective or a change of mind. And again, in terms of romanticizing, glamoring, or glorifying rather, what used to be, and then embracing what is now. There's a resistance to embracing the new chapter, I think, out of fear. And there's something coming through about being very protective of your clan, of your tribe, of your people, of you know, your soul fam. That's cool. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with being protective, but it almost has a sense to do of not taking a needed risk, or not moving forward with something and justifying it for X, Y, and Z. But really, if you're being honest and truthful with yourself, it has to do with fear. It's fear that holds you back, fear of the unknown, fear of what could be, possibly because it took you so long to reestablish some sort of stability in your life. You don't want to risk that. You don't want to rock the boat. But you know what I'm going to say. It's like the only constant in life is change. So in some ways, we have to embrace the unknown. We have to move forward not knowing all the answers, even though that's driving us nuts. Because what other choice do we have? We can't live in the past, right? We can't always be looking back. Then, we're missing out on the future. We're missing out on the present, really, the here and now. It doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a fight to the death. At ease, soldier. It's like, put your weapons down. We come in peace. That's almost what I'm wanting to say to you. And then in the future, you have really beautiful connections. There's a very strong line, a strong narrative here about children and childhood. There could be reflecting back on your own childhood, looking at your own children and their narrative, and grandkids, or if you're the child, you may be thinking about your own relationship to your parents and what that was like. And the idea of legacy and future generations. What is it that you want to leave behind? What is the story that you want to tell? Whether you're literally writing it in a book, you're writing a biography, or whether it's just like living your truth. What do you want it to say on your headstone? And I know that's a grim way of looking at it, but I think that's important. It's like, I think we need to see the forest from the trees and step back and sometimes look at the greater picture, because for some of you, you're so stuck in it, there's like tunnel vision. So what is supporting Aquarius at this time? The Knight of Wands. Yeah. Your freedom, your ability to pick up and leave when you want and go do something silly or fun or frivolous, your desire and thirst for knowledge and information and education and philosophy and like learning in any sense of capacity, do that, do more of it, pick up the book, research it, ask a lot of questions, because there's something, it's very, I'm hearing consuming that knowledge. It's like you have more tools in your tool belt, you have more, it's more advantageous, and I think it makes you feel more secure knowing what you can know, but also again with mutable energy, Sagittarian energy, but the ability to I'm searching for a word. I'm hearing funny things. I'm hearing quick decision. I think that's some line from a Jim Carrey movie. Quick decision. But it's almost like you need to pivot. Okay, that's the word I was looking for. Like, I know what I know, and because of that, I can pivot, or I can change direction. I can be adaptable. I can be flexible. And I mean, as a fixed sign, that's something that may not always come easy to all of you out there. I'm not trying to chalk you up to a stereotype, right? But I think there's a reason why the fixed signs are the fixed signs. They're the maintainers. There's a consistency there. There's a dedication. There's a loyalty. But at what point are we so loyal to something that isn't necessarily helping us, and we move into that stuck energy, when the key to our success is just be a little bit more flexible, be a little bit more open-minded, go where you feel adventure is calling you. Sagittarius energy, it's the great explorer, it's the adventure. And I mean, that's a sign that typically, meshes well with Aquarian energy. Certainly not for all of you, but there might be need to like pick up and go and travel. You can only read about it in a book so much before it's like, go out and experience it yourself. Go do it. Immerse yourself in that energy. For some of you, this feels very much like internship. And not literally for all of you, but the idea of reading about it in a book versus going and doing it and physically experiencing it, that's going to be worth its weight in gold. That's going to be wonderful. And again, 10 of Cups energy, it's like there's a feeling of elation that comes with being able to experience something that you've only read about, or something you've only dreamed about, or something that you've only thought about or written about, or the inner workings of your mind. It's like this long-held secret of almost like 9 of Cups energy, like something I've always wanted to do. Pack your bag and go do it. Go, my child. Go do it. Live out that dream, you have one life to live, YOLO. Advice on how to grow. Look, there's your go card. Go forth. Yeah, 8 of Cups is, where are we feeling like we are being held back, and where do we need to liberate ourselves, especially in terms of like what used to be good. Nostalgia, sentimentality, something served its purpose, but it wasn't meant to keep you trapped or meant to keep you in that place forever. Now it's time to go off and explore more, to make new connections, to embrace and embrace and experience new things that are going to nourish and satisfy you more. Then you have your Queen of Wands. Yeah, so meeting your soulmates out in the world. And I am using the word soulmates with an S. It isn't just one person. And I don't mean, it doesn't have to mean romantically, but for some of you, Knight of Wands can just be like, go out and date, have some sex, have some fun, right? That could be very Knight of Wands energy. It's like, I'm not looking to settle down and make roots anywhere. I'm just looking to explore and embrace and learn from people. That's what supports you right now. You have the King and Queen of Wands. It has nothing to do with gender, but it's the same elemental sign. It's that fire energy. So meeting people who are passionate about the things that we're passionate about. Or, with the sword energy, meeting people whose beliefs maybe contradict our own, but it doesn't mean that we can't break bread with them and learn from them and try and understand their viewpoint. It doesn't mean we have to be best friends, but again, with this Eight of Swords, it's like messages back and forth, and it's like, I'm seeking to know more. Explain that to me. Well, why do you believe that? It doesn't have to be like hot button issues, it doesn't have, the politics don't have to come into it, but learning from people who are different, and that has a lot to do with what we said earlier about this wounded warrior Chiron type thing of some sort of crisis that maybe someone has always felt like the exception or the weirdo, the foreigner, the stranger. So this is so Aquarian energy too. But embracing those people and almost forming a community or a collective of people who have a common goal or a common interest or a common experience, with kind of this Pisces energy, it's not like we have to form an official group and have an official membership and club and title. That's not what I mean. It's just like the embracing of those different people from different walks of life. And it's almost like your soul tribe that, maybe they're dispersed all throughout the country. Maybe it's your scrapbook of people you've met or your journal that you're looking back on. And it's like you're starting to see a common theme running through the characters in your personal journal or your diary. And something about that, it's illuminating you to some sort of important truth or significant storyline about yourself. Very interesting. I mean, it does seem like you have romantic partnership on the horizon if you're interested in it. Some of you may already be in a very happy relationship, but yeah, others of you, it's like getting out and dating people and meeting. You may meet them unexpectedly, Divine timing, man. All right, so Love Oracle, you have Harmony, card number 28. It's Venus energy, so possibly Venus is all about connection. We talked a lot about that. Venus specifically is the ruler of Taurus and Libra, so that may factor into this. It certainly doesn't have to. Something about it's fresh, it's ripe, it's ready to be eaten, it's ready to be consumed. There's something almost kind of sensual about this. For some of you, it's like your sex life may be more important to you right now, and kind of getting your groove back, so to say, with your partner. Others of you, it's just about kind of exploring your own whatever, femininity, sexuality, masculinity. I don't even necessarily want to make it like a gender thing, but I think Venus rules our body, getting more in touch with our body, not constantly living in our head. And there's something very significant and important about embracing and touch right now. And finding that balance in partnership too. Maybe some of you came from a place where you were doing all the heavy lifting or you were doing all the work in the partnership. And if you are single and looking, maybe this is about making sure your values are in alignment with this person from the get-go, from the start. So, to set yourself up for better success in the future, right? Maybe being more discerning with who you get involved with for some of you. First, I have to be honest, and I don't get this message a lot. This is an exception for the most part, but for some of you, there is kind of like this one-night stand that actually leads to something much more long-term and significant than either of you had ever intended or realized. For some of you, red hair is significant, like a redhead, a ginger. Or maybe just the color red. I don't know. Someone who's maybe an artist or who drew a picture of you. It could even be like a silly cartoon picture. Someone who's an artist of some kind or a scribe or spends a lot of time writing. So that could be you too. But something about the color red or something about a flower might be significant. Like someone's name might be a flower or aroma, perfume. It's very sensual energy, very Taurian energy. All right, last but not least for Aquarius. This says surrender. You're being asked to let go of your need to control each part of your life and surrender to the universe. Control is an illusion, and it's exhausting to try and hold on to it. Let go and allow yourself to enjoy the relief that comes from doing so. I surrender. That makes me think of the song, who's it by? Cheap Trick, Surrender. You guys know that one. All right, Aquarius, that's what I got for you. Thanks for joining me today. I really do appreciate you guys showing up to my channel. Show me some love back. Hit that like button. Leave a positive comment. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And make sure you do hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I post readings. If you want more content from me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook as The Intuitive Teacup. And that's about it. I will see you soon for more tarot. Bye, Aquarius.